What is happening, budget builders, and welcome back to the channel. We're back with our 1962 Fairlane that in our last episode we pulled out of a barn that had been parked in since 1993. We were able to get the motor running. Obviously there's a few more things we have to dial in. We have those noises going on and everything, but it does run. Before we do anything else, I have been dying to get to it. I don't use the term barn find lightly. This thing is so nasty. I mean, you just by looking at this thing, you get disgusting. I cannot wait to start blasting this thing off. So come along with us on this episode as we detail the exterior of this 1962 Fairlane. You notice this one has the caked in look. All that barn dust definitely caked in. So we're going to take some magic erasers and go over everything. I think it'll make it a lot nicer. Although 1,000 times better, we still have a ton of work to do to really bring this paint back to life. And I apologize, I'm pretty sick right now, and so still got to be down here working, got to make things happen. So I apologize, I sound kind of croupy and everything, but our next step here is, you can't feel it, just imagine feeling it. Listen. Hear the roughness that is still there. So there's a lot of trash and junk on that paint. To pick that trash up, we have a clay bar. And so what this does is picks up all the little bits of junk and trash. Because if we don't pick that stuff up, when we go to buff and wax this thing, what we're gonna be doing is cutting it with compound, and anything that gets up on that pad is gonna create little swirl marks all over our paint. And at this point, it probably has it anyways, but we're gonna try to keep it as nice as possible. So you take some detailer spray, do a little section. You can hear it kind of rough picking the trash up. Work that in. And look at all that trash it's picked up. Bunches of little pieces of junk and crud. I'm not sure you'll be able to hear it, but real rough. Look how, doesn't even make a noise. Let's go ahead and knock this whole trunk area out. I'm gonna do this rear area first. We'll move up to the roof and then the front, and then we'll start working down the sides. But to begin with, let's knock this whole buttress out. And the reason I am soaking all of this down in one go is because it's nice and cool out here. We don't have any sun, so it's not like it's going to dry up quickly. And once you get so much in there, you can take and knead it in and kind of push it back into that bar so we get a nice fresh surface. Our next step is we've got our buffer. What I have is a heavy cutting pad on here, and then I'm going to use a heavy grade extreme compound. And what I'm actually using is the Chemical Guy stuff. Now the nice thing about this stuff is it's really reasonable. It's very consumer grade. I'm not sponsored by them, don't get me wrong. You can buy most of this from like O'Reilly's. If not, you can pick it up on Amazon. Most of it's like same day or next day shipping. So it works really good. I've been pretty happy with them so far. What I'm going to do is do about 5 little dabs. We'll do 4. And then we'll give it a spritz of the conditioner. That just keeps it from getting marred up in there. I remember in my early days, if you remember, like when we did the Little Red Jet, I had a lot of compounded stuff that I had to really work to get back off. And most of it was because we were just burning it in pretty heavy. We'll start with this area here. Start with 1. Pretty quickly get it worked around. Now it's not going to be perfect, but I am excited to see how it is going to look. And I'm just going to go ahead, pop it into 6 right there, and let's lay it in here. Now, because this is a dual action, if you put too much pressure on it, it'll actually bog it out. So you cannot over pressurize, but I don't like to put a ton, just enough where you feel like you're getting a good solid push on it. No point going crazy. We don't want to burn through our edges, and you especially need to be careful around those. So. All about taking your time, and please remember, I'm not a professional detailer, so we're gonna do the best we can. There's some steps you may do different. There's some steps that, like I said, some professionals may do a little bit different. This is what has worked well for us bringing these old cars back to life so far though. Take our microfiber and just get what is left off of there. And wow, wow, wow. This is gonna be a pretty car. Oh my goodness. Got a quick change of plans really quick. We've got rain coming in, so we have to get this thing back in the shop. I do like the little 13s that are on this car. We could probably go ahead and get some 13-inch tires, and I may do that in the future, but for the time being, we have the black 14s with the white walls that was on the Thunderbird. We're doing something a little bit different there. I think 13s just don't look good on that car, or 14s. I think 14s will look pretty good on this car because this was offered with 14s as well as those 13s. So we're gonna try a set of those. It is one size bigger, but it may look really good on this car. And so we're gonna pull those off. We've got to beat those brakes loose. If you remember how bad these things were locked up, and we pulled this thing out, sure enough, they're all still locked up. So let's go ahead and stick a couple on here and see how they look on the car, and then we will clean those up as well and get them dolled. But for the time. So I think that'll look good. The only issue is it takes 10.5-inch hubcaps. Now the nice thing, these are the poverty caps. They're really nice. We can use them on something else. We can actually buy for a lot less than buying tires, because we already had these. We can actually buy a pretty nice set of 10.5 hubcaps that are identical to these. And I think it'll be a pretty good look on this car. Definitely not putting those chrome skirts back on this car. I think skirts are right for some cars, especially like the Thunderbird. It's the only way to go. Those stainless ones just look weird on this car because it has such pretty fenders, and they need to be open. So we're gonna pull these little brackets off, and these can they just clamp right down. Pretty easy. Wow, does it look so much better on 14s with a little bit more meat under there. Really fills in those wheel wells. While we're still in the back here, I want to go ahead and work our way down a little bit more as well. Sadly, this trim right here and this bumper are really not super pretty, but for now we're going to have to try to save what we can, just because this stuff is virtually unobtainable. And so first I'm going to unclip this trim so looks like we just got some little 3/8 nuts there. And off with the pretty trim we go. You think we can save that? Here we go, 1993. What I'm going to attempt here on the bumper, we've got our older but used clean pad and some Mother's Mag aluminum polish. I'm going to put some dabs on there. And we'll just test this spot here to start with. Hey y'all. Now what's really crazy is you see nicks and scratches and dents and dings, but this is the original paint on this 60-year-old car. This paint was laid on here 60 years ago. Wow. You may have noticed one thing that we did as we were doing this, kind of our next step there. After we got it cut, I went ahead and took some of the ceramic all-in-one wax, put it on the soft finish pad on our buffer, and went over it with that, and really gives it a very nice finish. Now again, not perfect, a lot of scuffs and scratches, deeper scuffs and scratches that we could work a little harder to get, but I'm afraid we would burn through that original paint. And as far as sharp though, it's coming out pretty sharp, especially again for something this age. Before we move any farther with detailing this side of the car, you know, this is all original paint. Everything so far is turning out pretty good, other than this quarter right here, you can see has been, it has Bondo, it's been painted, and the reason what's kind of cool, you know, when you think, when you see Bondo here, you think rust. Well, it has surface rust where it's chipped off, but the reason it was Bondo is because it was dented. So with the Bondo off, it is super, super solid. So that's awesome. So before we move any farther, I want to get all the Bondo scraped off of here. Let's see what we have. We'll try to straighten it a bit. We'll probably have to put Bondo back on it, but the quality of Bondo that we use now is a lot better than it used to be. But the biggest thing, we want to get all that rust taken care of, the surface rust here, get it cleaned up to bare metal, and let's go ahead and reshoot this little quarter right here. Now we are looking really good. It's warbly. We're gonna have some filler in it, but it's just so solid. The only way to get it super straight would be to replace it. We are gonna try to at least get these big dimples out of it, because there's just no point in putting all that filler in there. And if we can just make it as nice as possible, so we just have a skim coat, I think we can make that happen. So what I'm gonna use is our Unispotter here, because it's kind of difficult to get in from the backside to do anything. I am missing my little slide hammer. I think I left it at the house when we were working on the 911. And so, yeah. So I'll be using vice grips and then the big slide hammer, which will make it a little difficult, but no biggie. So you just take this thing, and the longer you push it up against it, you pull the trigger, the longer you hold it, the more it welds in. So we'll just do some quick, probably maybe 2 seconds to give it a good bite, but something that'll still pull out of there once we get it where we need it. Let me plug it in first. There we go. We'll kind of get a few of these in line on the dent here. You can see how how it drops in. We'll snip it off or pull it off as close as we can. Easiest way is if it'll pull off like that. That's why I try to only do it so long. And with all of that taken care of and all the rust removed, we can go ahead and apply some Shark Bite directly to the metal. Or attempt to. Now once we get it pretty close, I do have a little bit of a low spot here, but I'm afraid it's just kind of gonna be the way that it is without getting too crazy, and I just don't want a bunch of filler in here. I'm gonna take some self-etching, and I just want to spritz some on the metal so we know we have a good bite there, and then we can get some high build primer and start seeing how everything is gonna lay out. And right there, so a trick that my friend Chris showed me is use a little blade like this. It's just fine enough. You can see it filled in our little spots there. First we'll be spraying it with a Raven's Black. So we just need a little itsy bitsy bit here. So this is an 8-to-1-to-1 reducer and then a hardener. So what do I just go 1, 1, 1? That should be more than enough. That's what a razor blade's for. Or using a glass table because it can be scraped off. So I am missing. We're going to use that as a funnel and filter. And so we are going to be running 10 psi. I didn't tack cloth this. I don't see a bit of trash, but we didn't tack cloth it. That was dumb. Okay. It's been a couple hours, and even though we could let it sit longer, we gotta pull. You know, it's just like, you gotta pull the tape off. Heck yeah. Especially once this is cut and buff. Somebody painted this bumper. I am just using a little copper Brillo pad, or what I have left of one here. And it's a light enough, soft enough metal that it really doesn't put scratches in the chrome. Probably are wondering, why would I even spend time on a bumper like this? And I think I mentioned it before, these things are non-existent. This is probably as good as we're gonna get. Hopefully we can maybe find a better one down the road. This one is straight, so it could potentially be re-chromed. But cleaner it is, the better. But might as well try to clean it up. Yeah?
It might not clean up, but it'll hold the tube. Good, it's dark.
I gave it to it. It's far, far from perfect, but 7 hours ago when I started this, I didn't expect it to have any chrome at all. probably noticed we were actually clay barring the windows on this car as we did it. And the reason is we are gonna be buffing it. And in every video that we've done detailing, people have commented to go ahead and buff it. And I will say, it does make a big difference in the reflection of these windshield. So I will just do it just the same as we do the body panel. And I am not sure if you can tell, but just a huge difference in overall sheen and clarity. And not only will it make it look good, but I imagine once we start driving this, it'll make a big difference when we drive it. You probably noticed my oldest Belle goofing around out here, but she's actually here today to help us get this car done, aren't you? You ready? Okay. So what you're gonna do, hold this, pat it on the fender. Like so, right? Lines of the fender, I need you to go up and down the fender and get this stuff smeared all over it, okay? Now you're gonna start from one end and go really slow, okay? You ready? Good job. Okay, go down. Go in rows. Go ahead. Be careful. Keep going, go ahead. You're doing great, honey.
Hey, she does better than me.
So good. Is that fun, baby?
Yeah.
Yeah. Got a new camera person. Singing to it. Are you supposed to be Pop Pop's replacement?
Yeah.
How's she doing? Is she a good camera person? You are a goof.
Now you will notice, pretty happy with the blend, but I do have a little bit of separation that we still need to address. Now, the only thing I'm concerned with, so what we would do is we'll 1000 grit it, we'll blend that in, we'll move to a 1500, a 2500, and then finish off with the 3000 grit. And I think we're gonna have a really smooth, seamless edge. I mean, depending on how you're looking at it, it doesn't exist. Pretty happy with how that paint laid out, and that's just Nason single stage. But with that being said, it is quite cold. It's about 40 degrees, and it's been close to 24 hours, but I think I want to let it sit a little bit longer because I do not want to take a chance of just burning through and killing that fresh paint. So I think the best thing to do, and I'll show you in our next video once we do that, is we'll blend that in. We'll try to get that surface nice and smooth, but pretty happy with it does have a little bit of orange peel. I'll clean it up a little bit, but it's actually really close to the factory orange peel, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Pretty happy with it though. The last thing we got to do is we got to get wax on everything so it keeps that nice pretty shine that you did. So go ahead, let me turn it on. Spread it all over that fender. We're gonna make a budget builder out of her yet. Now I don't know if you'll remember, she actually really enjoys this automotive stuff. She was when we were working out of the garage at the house, she was out there as much as possible. I don't know if you remember, she was helping us with the Nash and everything, and she's the oldest, but she'll definitely be the first one to be building her own car. You do so good, baby. You're not camera shy, are you, honey? Did you do good?
Yeah.
Good job. Hey, good job. She's a goofball. There's no denying that's my child. There you have it, a full exterior detail. It just goes to show you never know what is lurking in the barn still. Parked 29 years ago and forgotten, this little 1962 Ford Fairlane. It is far from perfect. We're obviously not professional detailers, but 98% of this car is original paint. This is 100% a survivor. Being able to pull this thing out and find out this was under that disgusting barn dust and dirt and grime tucked away for so many years. Beautiful raven black, and really excited to be able to bring this car back to life and take you along with us. Dad and I, and the help of Belle, obviously, being able to knock this thing out, and really excited to bring the exterior of this car back. And I cannot wait to continue bringing it back, finish up the engine. We have figured out what was wrong with that, and you will see that in our next video. And in our next video, take this old ride for its first cruise in many, many years. That is going to wrap it up. I really hope you all have enjoyed this episode and you're excited for the car to this point and what's to come, and the handprints that are now all over it. For those that have been with us, we really do appreciate all the love and support so incredibly much. It gives us the ability to rescue these cars. It gives me the ability to provide for my family and do this kind of fun stuff. And thank you all so much. And if you do enjoy this kind of stuff, these car rescues, bringing these back to life, be sure to the subscribe button, notification bell. But that's going to wrap it up. Peace out, and catch you all on the flip side. it.